All right, guys. My next guest is a Harvard and Howard Law School graduate. She's the newest, most unique voice in the dating and relationship space, and she is highly educated, and she has some tips right here in the one shot. She's coming up right now. All right, Kai Nicole, you back?
Let's try it again. Is it working? Am I streaming? Am I freezing?
No, you're not freezing yet, but we gotta wait a few seconds.
Wait a few seconds. It's like, what? Of course. Come
All
on,
right, so
technology. Work with me.
you talked
You know
about
what it is? It's the election. It's trying to interfere. It's trying to get in. Everybody's worried about whether Trump's going to win again. We're stressed out. The internet is like, something must have happened with the election. So all that breaking news is tying up the internet.
It's breaking news this time of all that overload, data overload.
Data overload. But
all right, dating and relationships are not the same thing. That's what we said.
Not the same thing. Dating is the art of getting to know somebody. That's what you're doing when you're dating. You are just out meeting people and getting to know them. You're not in a relationship with them. And the problem with dating as a woman is that we're taught we have to get married. We have to be on this date. The first guy we meet, we're in a relationship with. That's not true. So when you're learning to date like a woman, you're learning how to date. That's what the book is about. It's just about dating. I'm not teaching you how to be in a relationship. There's lots of relationship experts. And a lot of times women are going to relationship experts when they're single, when they really need to learn how to date and get some dating skills.
You said it, not me. You said it.
I said it. I've been saying it. So that's usually where they get confused. A lot of women think dating is husband shopping. You're not shopping for a husband. Okay?
Wait a minute.
You're single and you're out there just getting to know the men that you come into contact with. So that's really how to date. That's where I am. That's why I focus just on dating in my book.
Okay, so let's talk about husband shopping.
Yes.
What does that ideally look like from a woman's perspective?
Usually you have women who have a list of what they want, and they are like, this is who I want to marry. He needs to be this tall and have this kind of job and this kind of car. And those are preferences. Okay, let's be very clear that when you are just looking, you're shopping for something. You want to go out, look through the selection, pick your product, and go on about your day. Dating's not that, and you'll never get that if that's all you're doing. You're not, like, the thing that women are having a hard time with is that they are trying to grab their preferences and put it in a package and pick that out, when really you should be learning about yourself when you're dating, learning about the other person, and seeing if there's a compatibility there.
Okay, now you used a bunch of Harvard words earlier. Okay, preferences and things. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, wait a minute, what you talking about? My preferences? What I prefer in a relationship? I shouldn't group them in when I first meet somebody."
No, because a preference is not necessarily compatibility. Like, you might prefer a guy who's 6 foot tall, but that doesn't mean that 6 foot tall guy likes the same movies that you like. Or likes the same food that you like, or likes to talk about the books that you like to read. Those are compatibility things. The problem is, if you're always looking for preferences, you never get to know the person to see if you all even have anything in common.
That is an interesting perspective, and I guess that's why you are one of the unique voices in this space, because a lot of us are taught one thing as children. We've talked about this all night, ladies and gentlemen. We have formed, most of the time, we form our idea of a relationship based upon what we saw our parents or not, or somebody else who's responsible for teaching us certain things in life. And so we come into a situation with our preferences, and nobody's ever taught us that our preferences is not necessarily a good match. And we keep using that same formula and wondering why we keep going through the same type
why
of
it doesn't work. You even if you find the person that meets your preferences, and then you're in the relationship, and then you're like, I'm unhappy. You're unhappy because you're not compatible. You're incompatible because you look for your preferences. And it's very hard. I say in my book to women to get rid of your list. And, That's been a really, people they're really touchy about getting rid of that list. They want like, I want to be educated, I want this, and I want that, and I want this. Yeah, what you're saying is what you prefer. Not saying anything wrong with preferring something, but if you really, really want to have a good dating life, you have to let your preferences go and just get to know the person that's sitting across from you. If the guy asks you out respectfully and he's engaging, like he talks to you, and he has showing you genuine interest, take the date. Go out on the date and just see. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it doesn't. And that's what dating is. I think a lot of times women don't understand that not every date is a love connection, and that's okay. It's okay not to connect on the first date with somebody. That's all right. You might not. But the point is you get to know the person. It's a skill. Being able to talk to somebody, tell somebody about yourself, learn something about them, that is a skill. And if you don't have that skill, your dating life is going to be dry.
Some people have a lot of Arizona desert dating life right now.
Yeah, and it's really hard during a pandemic. I'm really feeling for the single folks out there because this is crazy.
Now, somebody said at my age, my list goes deeper. And I would love to know, listener, what that list entails and how deep that list goes. But let's say, for instance,
doing anything for you.
So you brought up something a moment ago, and I've experienced this. I tried online dating in my life. I don't know how many people out here have tried online dating. It's not something I like. And I think in part it's due to a lot of times we come into a scenario, and what you just talked about rings true because I've experienced it myself. They have preferences. You're just trying to get to know them. And they think on the first time you meet somebody, you're supposed to have this magic Hollywood movie kind of scenario kind of thing. And I think that's what's killing true and genuine connections with people.
There's so many things happening culturally. That's what I delve into in my book. Whereas we have a culture that says love is supposed to be magical and it's supposed to be this spark and it's supposed to be perfect. And, if it doesn't happen the first time, this is not it.
Right.
That's part of the problem. The other part is when you have online dating, especially, but even without online dating, when you first meet somebody, you're meeting their representative. And I talk about that in my book. You're not meeting the person yet.
Talk about it.
The best representative they can make for that moment. And the problem I say for online dating, especially for women, is that representative is really strong online. You don't know who that person is online. I know that now we're in a pandemic. Dating online is probably what you have to do, but I've never recommended online dating for women because it's so easy to make this illusion of a representative and so hard to get past that representative to find out who the person really is. But for now, pandemic dating, I recommend you get on that camera and talk to the person and really get to know them. That's the most important thing about dating, is learning about the other person.
All right, guys, if you just joined us in the One Shot, we're talking to Kai Nicole, author of Date Like a Woman, the best-selling book. And if you guys have questions, I've been saying this all night, you can type them in the chat if you're on YouTube or also on Facebook Live, and I'll get your questions on. Just make sure you type them in there. So you talk in your book about being single is not a disease.
It's not. It's not a disease. It's not a debilitation. It's okay to be single. Our culture reinforces to women over and over that if you're single, there's something wrong with you. You're going to be an old cat lady and nobody wants you.
Right.
No. I was single for a long time and I was okay. I was happy. I enjoyed being single. When I was single, I always enjoyed it, but I enjoyed dating. But I realized, and another reason why I wrote the book is that my approach to dating was so different from other women. I wasn't husband shopping. I was just like, hey, I'm going on this date. Let's check it out. Let's have fun. Let's see who they are. And that freedom that you have when you're single, you don't get that in a relationship. Women need to enjoy being single. Men are taught to enjoy being single.
Right.
They get to date whoever they want. They date as many women. And, usually men, when they get married, they marry the woman they really wanted. They don't marry somebody that the first person they dated. They marry the woman after they dated several women. women are discouraged from dating several men because of sexism. Women are discouraged because, if you date a lot of guys and there's something wrong. If you date more than one man at the same time, there's something wrong with you. That's not true. If you're single, ladies, this is your day. This is the time to have all the fun you can have right now. Just go. If the guy asks you out, take the date. Build your dating skills, because the more dates you go on, the better you are. More men will be interested in you. And this is true. As like one of your guests said earlier, confidence. Mm-hmm. Dating brings confidence. The confident woman gets the man. She gets the man she really wants. And your confidence will build the more that you date. So it's really important to get out there and talk to guys. And, like I said, pandemic is making things very difficult right now. But, get online, go on Facebook, go in the groups, chat it up, talk to people, because you will ultimately have some guy see you and reach out to you. And I don't mean DMs, I mean right on a public post, because that's what you're looking for. Guys who risk something to talk to you. That's interest. The DMs, no risk, no reward. But if you're on a public post and guys are talking to you, that guy who's talking to you, he's showing you something. He's showing he's not afraid of rejection publicly. And that's a real big deal when it comes to men.
Now, that's also a slippery slope, because, we all up and slide in the DMs because we don't want that, in a sense. And then when we do go on the public post, now we gotta think about, in this day and time, screenshot, and now you reposting about us. And it's like,
you can get screenshot in the DMs.
you definitely gonna get screenshot in the DMs, but
right.
Again, it's one of those things where when you're talking about dating, it goes back to what we've been taught, because you talked about something that I talk about in my upcoming book, free agency. And I talk about being a free agent. You are single. You don't have a husband. You don't have a wife. You are a free agent. You can talk to as many teams as you want to.
Just go out there. Enjoy your singlehood.
Yes.
Women are not allowed to enjoy their singlehood without judgment. And that is really what dating like a woman is about. It's about freedom. It's about enjoying being single. It's about taking the time to really, I'm telling you, when you date and you take the time to date, you learn about yourself. Like, you learn things about yourself you didn't even know were there, because you're interacting with new people. You're building new things for yourself. So it's really important to get out there, to allow yourself to enjoy being single. And I think a lot of women have never done that. That's why I wrote the book. That's why I wrote it, because I was like, I'm looking around and I'm like, you guys are missing the point here. This is awesome. Like, get out there.
Well, one of the things I've learned in since being a single man is oftentimes people have a misnomer about you seeing multiple people, because they do the very thing that Dr. Aldewan talked about, that Kevin Cole talked about, and Coach Reed talked about, is we form this thing in our mind about people. And we go about it as, well, if he's seeing multiple women, I need to be his choice. He hasn't decided if he want to sign with your team yet, man.
And the thing about it is, until both parties say we're in a relationship, you are not in a relationship. And I need ladies to really catch that. Really get it in, take it in, until you both people in the relationship say, hey, you know what? This is us. We're in a relationship together. It's just you and me now. Now you're not dating anymore. Now you're in a relationship.
Right.
Different thing. Dating, you're out there, you're single. Relationship, you're with someone. And until both people say we're in a relationship, it's not a relationship. Even if you feel possessive of that person. And I really have to say that a lot of times, because of the way society is set up, women feel possessive of a guy that they're dating when they don't have a reason to.
At all.
That just don't do that. And maybe that's a hard habit to break, but break the habit. You're single, guy's single, enjoy what you have. And be honest. If you're dating other people, it's okay to say, yeah, well, I have a date this weekend. Now, one of the cool things about being a woman who's very open and honest about dating multiple people is that the guys who are not really all that interested in you will politely bow out, and you don't have to waste your time dating them anymore. They'll be like, I'm gone, and you can move on to somebody who's really interested in you. But and I'm not the first person to say this, and I won't be the last. But for the women who are really wanting to get married, which I don't say is a goal, the way to do it is to date multiple men. You will find what you're looking for faster.
Yeah, and you got to know what it is that you desire. I think a lot of men and women go into relationships, or they go into the search or free agency. That's what I call it, free agency. They go into free agency not knowing what type of team they really want to play for. And I have this saying, Kai. I say, we sign with a team because we like the way the uniforms look. We get with people because we like how they look. We're attracted to their outer person, but we don't know anything else about their insides. And it's almost like, I give this example, LeBron James. He just won a championship with the Lakers. But do you guys truly understand how that happened? He was with a team for 7 years and he couldn't win a championship. He decided to go to another team who surrounded him with other players that he could win with. He won 2 championships there, went back to his old team, won a championship there, came out to Los Angeles, and has now won a championship with them. You guys got to start looking at that. That's the formula. You got to get with a team who is built to win. That's what I say when it comes to relationships.
You can only do that by seeing what's out there. You got to see what's out there.
You got to meet with all the teams in the NBA.
You can't just beat one team and be like, this is it.
This is it.
It doesn't work that way. You have to get out there and see what's available, see who's there, see if it works. And again, the list is not helping you. I know ladies want to hold on to that list, and I get in a lot of trouble for saying, you got to get rid of the preferences, but that holds back a lot of women.
It not only holds back a lot of women, it holds back a lot of men too, because I think a lot of men have preferences as well. And those preferences are not necessarily conducive to you winning. But you can be with somebody and you guys have a physical attraction. But you got to understand, my aunt and uncle has been married for 60 years. 60. And you got to think about, if that's your goal, that you want to be married till death, you got to get rid of those preferences.
Yeah, well, you also have to make sure you're compatible. Like, people don't realize that when you're in a relationship, you're spending more time together inside in the house doing normal, mundane things.
Yep.
You can't sit next to that person and do normal, mundane things and be happy. That's not the right person for you. You're going to be stressed out and unhappy. Like, it's not going to work. That's what usually breaks up relationships, is incompatibilities.
Someone says they are actively recruiting. Now, let's talk about that for a second. What should actively recruiting consist of?
Oh gosh, it's so much different with not being able to leave the house. But for me, when I was actively dating, I spent a lot of time going to events and things that I was really interested in, like film festivals and brunches and happy hours, and being in spaces where I knew that whatever the activity was an activity I enjoyed. That means that the other people who were there were doing something that we both like doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so then when you're there, you have that, you don't have to run up to a guy and be like, hey, but you do your thing. Ladies, look nice, smile, just a little eye contact can get you a long way, just be welcoming. And usually most men, if they're interested in you, they will step up, take the hint. So that was before. Now, like I said, you're going to have to not so much get on the dating site, because I can't recommend them. I just can't. I can't do it. I looked at the numbers. That's a $2 billion industry.
Ooh.
And I think only 5% of the people actually meet someone, which means 95% are going to just be on dating sites being single most of the time.
True that. Yeah. Now, I normally give a 3-look minimum when I'm out.
Oh,
you got 3 looks. You give me 3 looks, it's on.
Again. See, one more time. Okay, I'm in there. That's what you do 3 times.
3 look minimum. Okay. So you look at you 3 times, it's time to rock and roll.
It works, though. It works. I mean, I know that sexism plays into how we interact with one another. We are socially conditioned to behave certain ways. Doesn't mean that every time every person will act the same way, but we are taught that men will pursue. And we have certain things that we can do as women to get men interested. doesn't work all the time if the man's not interested, but generally it can work. So like I said, eye contact, smile, look your best, be confident. Confidence is always the winner. I mean, it just does. If you walk in a room and you really, really confident, men notice. They do.
That's true. All right, we're talking to the author of the best-selling book, Date Like a Woman, Kai Nicole. How can people connect with you on social media?
So social media, I'm Kai Nicole on Twitter, and I'm Kai Fly Mommy on Instagram. And my website is datelikeawoman.com. Check out my blog. You can send me a message on my website if you have a question, a dating question. I will answer you in a blog. So it's called Ask Kai. So just click the link on datelikeawoman.com. Write me. I will write an answer to any dating question, and I'll put it in a blog. And I'll put it in a blog for you and share it to the world. So those are, I'm Date Like a Woman book on Facebook, Kai Nicole on Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find.
You ain't hard to find, as Tupac used to say.
Nope.
Hey, well, thank you so much for coming on the fence, and I hope you help people get off the fence tonight, because that's our goal here on Off the Fence. So really appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us tonight. Kai Nicole, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. The Relationship Show. Next week, we have a lot of great guests. We're going to help you guys grow to be awesome. That's the whole goal next week. Self-improvement, self-help. It's all going down. Till next time, I'm Finch. Get your ass off the fence.
Yo. You're in the mix.
The world's finest, man. DJ.
Just down.
I have the radio on the telly.
You're in the mix on Off the